Hey guys, welcome back. So I was going to give you a couple hacks in this video, things that have worked for me, along with we're going to do like a Valentine's Day pour buffet style. So I've just about altered every single color that I've got here in one way or another. I want everything to look different, you know. To date, there's probably a pour or getting close to it with every basic color combination you can think of. So I'm starting to make my own colors, so my own work, you know, it's a lot more effort, but in the end the results are a lot more rewarding. So anyway, let's get started. The first hack I wanted to give you was, I don't know if you could see what this is, but it is a cereal bag, okay? So when the cereal's gone, I just bang it out in the trash, and then it's really like, it starts off like here and here, okay? So then I snip down the center, and I cut the top Ziploc back part off, and then the bottom seam, and it becomes a perfect non-stick. I'll wind up putting my tiles there to dry, and then when the paint dries itself, I can either peel it off with my fingers, or I can use a palette knife or a scraper. It comes right off. It's great. I've probably used this since, actually it was before Thanksgiving. I've reused these that many times. So then I have my shower curtain that always goes down on my table. And then I put wax paper down. Now, this may not work for you, but this has been working for me for quite some time now, okay? I also have, this is a TV monitor stand. I got it from Goodwill. I don't know if you can see it, but I paid $1 for it, okay? So you just got to look out for that kind of stuff. The next thing I use is waterproof photo paper, okay? It is the cheaper version of Yuppo. It has to be waterproof or else it'll buckle when it gets wet. This particular paper is heavy enough to where the paint, you know, you pour the paint, it'll dry. You can cut it out in shapes or, you know, whatever you want to do. I have a bunch of scissors that cut different patterns on the blades. So what I'll wind up doing is maybe printing out some stencils using my Cricut, and then I'll you know, trace it out on the back or whatever, and then cut it out. That was just something previous I was going to do, but forgive my room, it's kind of messy. We're getting ready to build me a bigger art table for my back because of my spine issues. CD rack that holds all of my tiles that haven't been resined yet, and that's great for me. And I keep them on a little incline so they don't rest against the metal coated wires, so there is no indents into them. Let's see, I also got, I don't know if you could see it, but it's like a dish rack, and that also holds my records. And then these guys are really great too. I can put all kinds of stuff in them. This is just a dresser right here, and I repurposed it, and it's all full of my art stuff. I save a lot of these cardboard, you know, you get them at the store or whatever, and I store my paints in them and whatnot. Then these guys over here, they hold my paint. Normally that goes up there, but so yeah, for now that's pretty much it. I think I went over before, I have this tray here, and I let all my paints dry upside down or on the sides. And then I'll use these hook-like things that you can get from Harbor Freight. and I'll pull the paint right out of the cups and reuse them again and again. So really the only thing that I get that is revolving is my gloves and my wax paper. And the rest, I know this light is really crazy. He's supposed to hang it for me. But, so it's just kind of hanging out there in limbo right now until it gets done. And, yeah, so if you're ready, let's get started. I wound up mixing. I was not going to make you guys sit through all that mixing. It's taken me, I can't, with the medical issues I've got, I can't mix all that in one deal. I gotta like space it out and take a break and then come back to it. So, I mean, it is what it is. I do the best that I can. But, yeah, so I need to mix some gold and silver, and I figured I would just do those for you on camera. If you want to see more extensively how I mix all of my colors, I have my most 3 recent videos. They're tiles with my new recipe that I've been using, and that's also I'll put links right above in the tags. It should be appearing in the top of the video right now. So that'll go into more specific details on the mixing and whatnot. But in a nutshell, like I said before, I've been using my Flow Aid recipe, which is this guy right here, and it basically allows you to use water without breaking down the binders of the acrylic. So no matter how much before, if you were to use water, it would muddle your paints if you use too much, or your paints would dry very dark, and this keeps that from happening. It's already in these paints specifically. The Flow acrylic already has the Flow Aid in it. I do add a little more, but you know, to make it the consistency that I'm looking for. But yeah, another person on YouTube is the one who, Saskia Smith, inspired me to do it. She was using a totally different pouring medium than me. I'm not able to get what she was using, so I tried it with Floetrol, and that video is right here, and it was a total success for me. So I've been using it ever since. You know, I tried to, before I was using so much pouring medium to eliminate water, and then I went off to Liquitex pouring medium and GAC 800, and you know what? You don't even need to do it. This works really well, and as I've shown in a couple posts in my group, the tiles that I was practicing on dried just as vibrant as they did when they were wet. Here's another one. I did this the other day. Actually, it's been like a week now. This guy is totally dry, okay? The edges are just as nice as the painting itself. Now, this needs to be varnished or resined or whatever, but you know how you get stuff coming over the sides, how it looks really like dull, and or at least a lot of my paintings it did. This, you know, I got cells coming down the sides. It's gonna be nice hanging on the wall, and that's all thanks to the Flow Aid. So, you know, if you don't have it, I'll show you a picture right now. It was $10 at Michael's. You can use a 60% off coupon when they have it, and you can get it for real cheap. So, you know, like I said, it's an acrylic thinner. So it, you know, it's going to allow you to break your paints down to practically a wash before it even touches the vibrance or the components in the acrylic. So anyway, but there is another video where I taught my friend to pour. It's right above, and that was using just Floetrol. So I managed to do that with without adding water as well. So you can take a look at that if you don't have the Flow Aid on hand, or you don't care to use it. You know, this is all my opinion. So one thing I've learned in this whole process is that, you know, what works for me doesn't work for others, and vice versa. So it just all boils down to what, you know, what you have access to. I spoke to a girl who lives in Japan, and she cannot get Flow Aid. And, you know, we were trying to come up with an alternative and found out that it's actually, I mean, I already knew it was a surfactant. It's found in a lot of, like, dish soaps and stuff. There's a lot of people out there who have poured with dish soap. I think I have too. I just don't really vaguely remember it. I don't know if it went that well. But, yeah, so there was a video on YouTube of a guy making it also with glycerine. And I've also seen a couple pours where glycerine was used as the pouring medium. So, you know, it just boils down to what you tried and what works for you. I also know quite a few people who pour with just water, paint and water, and that's it. And that's what they swear by, and, you know, it obviously works for them. So, more power to everybody who can make something work. Okay, so, yeah, I'm going to start off with this much. I don't think I'm going to need much more right now. So there's probably about 2 tablespoons. Yeah, let's go with 2 tablespoons in each cup, okay? So 1 part paint to 1 part pouring medium, and it's going to make it really thick. I had, in this particular recipe, I'm using like 80% Floetrol and then 20% Liquitex pouring medium. And the reason for that is, well, Floetrol is very thin, okay? I got an example right here for you. Okay, this right here is Floetrol. You may not be able to really see it, you know, right too well, but that's what Floetrol looks like in the cup. Alright, this is Liquitex pouring medium. It's much more sturdier, and you know, I guess it's more shiny, but it's very, very thick. Okay, Floetrol basically will snap very, very easily. The Liquitex pouring medium, you gotta really pull it to get it to rip. And that goes for the same thing with you know, when it's drying on a tile or your canvas or whatever. It's extremely, the coating versus Floetrol versus adding Liquitex to it. The Floetrol is kind of thin and still pretty and vibrant, you know, don't get me wrong, but I got 2 gallons of Liquitex pouring medium just sitting here on standby, so I figured I gotta use them somehow. So I started adding it into my pours, and then I realized that the coating on the tile and my canvas was a lot thicker. Like, I couldn't see the canvas, the lines of the canvas when I was using Liquitex into the Floetrol. And then some of the tiles I have some texture on it, and I couldn't see the texture anymore. So I figured I might as well use it and give it, you know, a full thick coating. Which really, if you're going to resin the stuff, you can't really tell anyway. I mean, it's there mildly, but resin covers up a lot of stuff. Alright, so enough chat. Anyway, I'm just going to give this a stir. So, like I said, 1 part paint, 1 part pouring medium. Okay. I try not to whip my paints. It'll make lots of bubbles, but sometimes I don't mean to, but I do. If that's the case, just let your paint sit for like 10 or 15 minutes. Whoops, I apologize. Yeah, just letting them sit will do a world of a difference when you're using Floetrol or Liquitex. If you whip too much and you have mostly Liquitex as your pouring medium, you definitely want to let your paint sit for a while, because Liquitex is just so much more dense. So yeah, it's kind of gloopy. We'll definitely add the flow mixture. Now this is 1 part Flow-Aid to 20 parts water. This bottle, I've made like 3 recipes. Yeah, I tripled the recipe. So, about that much. I want to say maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons. Don't measure it like that though. Just start off with, you know, like a 3-second squirt, like how I did. I don't even squeeze the bottle. I just let it kind of flow out of there. If you don't have a bottle to put the Flow-Aid in, then I would just do a teaspoon at a time and see where that gets you. That way you can't go over and make your paints too thin. If it does get too thin, just add some more paint and just a little more pouring medium and do it again. It's not that big of a deal. Alright, this is still a little on the thick side for me, so I'll add just a little bit more. I was a bartender, so it's really easy for me to pour things and eyeball things, but, you know, that doesn't excuse anything. Like, over time, you guys will, I promise you, you'll be able to just eyeball stuff. Yeah, that's still too thick. Alright, that's good. So, alright, so the silver, the last time I used the silver, I don't know if it was this bottle or another bottle, but it chunked up on me. Liquitex Basic Silver is extremely famous for this happening. It's a pain in the butt. But no, it's breaking down right away for me, so that's good. So yeah, I like Artist Loft Silver because if you wanted to turn anything metallic and you don't have a way to do it other than silver or gold, it's definitely a good route to go. I mean, it is pigmented, but you could actually make white metallic without turning it to look like silver. You don't need a lot, but actually, we're really almost there with that. That's probably all I need right here. I got a couple of chunks down in there that I can feel when I'm stirring. I keep feeling it hit the stick. So then you want to scrape, you know, everything off your sides. Alright, so this particular pour, I am going to put silicone in my white. It's my most dense color. Here, look, me. Using silicone in the most dense. So I'm using Spot On Treadmill Lubricant. Guys, I've used all kinds of silicones, and this truly by far is my favorite. This one or anything that's 100% silicone. This particular one is 100%. It gets on everything. It's crazy. Like on the bottle, on my fingers. Like I can feel it right on my gloves right now just by touching the bottle. So, I always keep a little extra white without silicone in it. You never know what you're going to need or when you're going to need it. So, with that being said, I will usually just take a cup and I'll fill it halfway with my white. Well, actually, that's like 3/4, but you get the idea. And then just one drop. That's all I need. Boom, just like that. Okay? And then this is how I stir it. Just 1, 2, 3. That's not over stirring it. It's not under stirring it. It's not going to give you globs. That's another thing. Using the Flow Aid, it has, since I've used it, nothing has pitted to the bottom of my canvas. You know how sometimes when you use, when you're doing a pour and your silicone goes all the way down to your canvas, for whatever reason, the Flow Aid keeps that from happening too. So I'm really grateful for that, because I hated that. Something terrible. That drove me crazy when that happened. Okay. So I have these big tiles that I'm doing. These guys are going to have a vinyl printed on them when they dry. It's going to say some type of positive affirmation. I haven't decided what, but they're actually larger tiles. They're about this big. Let's see. I can tell you exactly. Look like. Alright, well, they're obviously off. So they're about 8 inches, 8 by 8s. And then the other tile I have, I think, is a 8 by 10. I'm not sure. Anyway. So another thing I do is a lot of spray painting with my resin. And I keep all my caps. I save the caps to like my spray oils for cooking. I keep the caps to my hairspray, to the laundry soap. You name it, it all goes in a shoebox, and I keep it for a rainy day or for when I'm pouring. So it brings it up higher for me. I can stick it right in the center. You know, this is kind of like a grid, so it you know, it is a little topsy-turvy, but for the most part, I like it. So this is twice the size of the tiles that I normally do, and I was using cups about this size before, so now we're going to something bigger. These are 1 ounce cups, so I'm going to use a 2 ounce ramekin to do the pour. I'm going to grab that now. Oh, come on, pause. Alright guys, so if you're ready, let's get started. This is waterproof photo paper. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this waterproof paper, and I'm going to pour on it, and then when it dries I will cut it out in whatever pattern I decide to do. Sound like a plan? So I've got a couple things going on here. This is my silicone color from yesterday. Whoa. So yeah, we are totally dry with my tiles from yesterday. I figured I would show you. What we poured is what we got. So, isn't that color shift cool? I can't wait to get resin on this. Anyway, yeah, so with that all said and done, I was going to print out some text to put on top of it, and as usual, I like it too much to put text on it. My boyfriend has told me he is returning my Cricut if I don't use it by this weekend. I mean, he's just playing and all, but I kind of feel bad that he got me it for Christmas and I haven't used it yet, so we're going to try to change that. Okay, so yeah, let's get down to business here.